And if you're just joining us, you are looking at a live look inside the fishbowl where they are preparing to begin this press conference following the Anomaly during the third demonstration portion of the historic first flight of Ariane 6. We're going to listen in as they get ready to begin the conference. Stand by.
Welcome to the Ariane 6 inaugural flight press conference from the European Spaceport here in Kourou, French Guiana. I'm Anne-Sophie Bradet, the head of communication of the European Space Agency, and I will be the moderator of this press conference. We have a journalist here with us in the room, and we also have journalists following us online. So I will start by introducing our speakers, get some first comments from them, and then I will open the floor to questions. Questions will come from the room, but you can also, for those that are remotely located, ask them from the media@esa.int. So let me introduce the speakers here today. We have Joseph Aschbacher, the Director General of the European Space Agency. We have Philippe Baptiste, the CEO of CNES. Martin Sion, the CEO of Ariane Group. Stéphane Israël, CEO of Ariane Espace. Tony Tolkien-Nielsen, who is the ESA Director of Space Transportation, Karine Levaux, CNES Head of Space Transportation, Valérie de Corvère, A6 Inaugural Flight Program Manager at Ariane Group, and Caroline Arnoux, Head of the Ariane Business Unit at Ariane Space. I guess we can all clearly state that today is an extraordinary day for Europe. We've witnessed an incredible show. We have a launch success, and Europe is back in space. So I would like to ask you, please, if you could share all your comments, your feelings, your emotion. How do you feel today? And Joseph, you start with this comment, please.
Yeah, thank you, Anne-Sophie, and a very warm welcome also from my side. It's late here in Kourou, it's even later in Europe, but I can tell you, despite the late hour, we are really excited. We are relieved, we are excited. This is a historic moment. An inaugural launch of a heavy launcher does not happen every year. It happens probably every 20 years or maybe 30 years. The last one was about 30 years ago. And today we have launched Ariane 6 successfully, and this is a big milestone. So Europe is back, as you were saying. I feel personally relieved, but super excited because this now brings us back on track. We will, of course, we are on plan now to launch another mission before the end of the year. I think I give the privilege to Stéphane Israël to announce, but before the end of the year, we plan the next launch, and then of course we start with the ramp up as of next year, as according to plan. So yes, Europe is back. This powers Europe back into space. It was very important for the European Space Agency, as you can imagine, but much wider. It was very important for space in Europe and even for citizens across Europe because they depend on data which our rockets are delivering into space. So very happy and a big day, and really I can't wait for the next steps to come.
Thank you, Joseph. Yes, Europe is back. We are back in space. We are back in business. It's a very important day because we are talking about Europe's sovereignty, European access to space. You are not a space player if you don't have access to space. So it was a very, very important day, and it's a great success. We are very, very happy about that. So it's amazing. The campaign was, I would say, well, perfect. The launch was very good, and so it's really a great day. It's an amazing first launch. On a personal feeling, I just want to mention how proud I am from my teams, of course, all CNES people who have been working on the launch pad, of course, on building the launch pad, but also to run the CSG but not only proud of CNES people, also proud of all people in the program, people from ESA, people from Ariane Group, people from Ariane Espace, and with all our partners all over Europe. So it's really a great achievement today, and I'm very, very happy.
Martin, please.
You know, a lot has been said. First, I feel relieved after this success because even if everything which could be done at ground, you know, in terms of tests, in terms of calculations, etc., we all know that an inaugural flight is not a walk in the park, so it's better to have it behind us. And so I absolutely feel relieved, and I will share what said Philippe. It's also a matter of pride for all the people who have been working in this program. I mean, this has been a difficult program. Thousands of people working on it in Ariane Group, in our industrial partners, and I think it's really something which that I want to acknowledge today, and I already congratulated them, but I want to insist on that because what has been done is just huge. What you did not see is that there was no problem during the chronology. The flight was uneventful, all the launcher part was uneventful, and it shows the mastery of the launch pad, the launcher, all the launch system, which has been developed by the team over the last months, and this is something which is a real achievement.
Stéphane, your turn to share with us your emotions.
Yes, so again, we need to thank all the support we have had during all these years from the member states. We need to congratulate the teams who made this success, from ESA, from CNES, Ariane Group, with the support of Ariane Space. We have here some experts. They happen to be ladies, by the way, and apart from Tony, but and some others are in the room, and I think it's very important to tell to all of them what we owe to their level of expertise. And indeed, what has been achieved tonight is now enabling us to prepare at full speed the next launches. We have a very motivating target, which is to make the second launch by the end of the year. We have now, for the second launch, passenger, which should be CSO3 for the French MOD. And we will have all the next ones which are going to follow. And now what is very important for us is to prepare the ramp-up. And just on a personal touch, it was a bit strange because I have had the feeling that it was even easier than on Ariane 5. So it was not something I expected, but the chronology, I have made a lot of chronology, and it was one of the most easy chronology. And so it's amazing that for our first launch, things have been so smooth and so easy. So congratulations.
You mentioned the key role that all the experts play, so I would like to give them the floor as well to give, maybe share comments, or maybe Tony, you want to start?
Yeah, I can only echo what has been said, but Joseph asked me this morning, how do you feel? And I said to him, I have stress, and I have confidence, and I have also emotions. And before the launch, when people ask me, so how do you feel about this? Are you nervous? I said I was 96% confident and 4% very nervous. And I think I was lying a little bit. Now all this stress really turned into emotions, and we were so happy. We have been working very, very hard to make this happen. We have been on track with this for more than half a year, for 7-8 months. We knew we were going to launch around the 9th of July. And we have been working so hard and so long hours, and this has been crowned by this incredible success. And I get emotional about it.
Karine.
What an incredible success that we had today. It was a great moment. The launch is a great success, and we achieved something very, very high, very amazing. And it is important to thank every people involved in the program who makes this success possible today. I'm so proud to be part of these people, and it was amazing. Thank you.
I just steal the microphone 1 second because I forgot something which is very important. Because we have thanked our teams and that, of course, it's amazing, but we have not thanked, I mean, all the people who ensure the safety and the security of the site and of the launch. And I am thinking of the Force Armée de Guyane, so both legionnaires on the ground and gendarmerie, but also in the air. I mean, you could see Rafale up there, but not only, I mean, helicopters and all around. And an amazing number of people who have been dedicated to ensure the safety and the security of the base and of the launch. So I want to thank them. We always have to think that they are always there for each launch. And so thank you very much again.
Thank you, Philippe, for mentioning that. Valérie, and then Caroline, please.
Yes, personally, I was in the launch center where are the operators for the chronology and also all the engineers. And this team, this Ariane group, ESA, CNES team, has been working now since the start of the campaigns, so since several weeks, really day and night, I can say that, weekends. And there was a lot of emotion. There was also a lot of serenity concerning the chronology we were going to face, because we had repeated more or less the same type of chronology during the combined test of a launcher, which we did last year, with a lot of success also. But there was a lot of excitement, and yes, I must say a lot of emotion. And it was really a great moment to be there with all the team and to be able to share it with all of them. And I think we were all so proud of what we had achieved all together. And this is something we will remember for our full life. And it's one moment in time in a professional life for sure, and even in one life, I would say.
Thank you, Caroline.
So, on my side, I would like to say that I'm extremely proud of this launch, and proud to be able, thanks to this success, to serve our customers. We have a lot of customers which were waiting for Ariane 6, and Ariane 6 is there. And thanks to the success, we are able to serve them. And I think it's extremely important for all of us. And I would like to say also that I'm impatient, because this success was, of course, important, but it's the beginning of something. And I will be extremely happy to be back to work tomorrow morning to start the preparation of the coming missions.
Thank you all. We already have some questions because something occurred during the tech demo phase. So could you please elaborate on that? Maybe Martin?
Yes. You well understood that there were several phases in this flight. And we have centered our comments on what was the main objective of this flight, which was the launch phase, and which culminated with the separation of the first satellites, which was done after 2 boosts of Vinci and APU, everything ran perfectly. And then we had a demonstration phase, which was to see how the upper stage behaves in microgravity and how the different systems operate. Because microgravity is something that we cannot test on the ground. And that was the purpose of the demo phase. And what happened is that at one point of time, we reignited the APU. It did reignite, and then it stopped. And that's, we don't know why it stopped. This is something that we will have to understand when we've got all the data. And then the upper stage behave according to this new situation, which means that the Vinci engine decided not to restart because there was no APU operating, so it was not in a good condition to restart. And so there was a passivation of the upper stage, which was triggered in order to make it an object which does not create dangers of debris. And the passivation works perfectly according to plan. And also, it was the launcher system decided automatically not to release the 2 capsules, the 2 passengers, because it would have created additional debris. And so We have an event which is not understood yet, which is why did the APU stop, but all the rest of the mission was according to plan. So this is fortunate, but this is also why we make a tech demo in flight, because there are some things that we cannot test on the ground. And this is why, from the beginning, we were very clear on the fact that there were two aspects. One was to demonstrate the launch success, which we did, and then to understand and to gather as much information as possible in this microgravity phase. And I'm looking forward to have all the data and that all the teams, all the experts will work in order to better understand what happens, and we will inform the public at that time.
I suggest we start now with the questions and start with the room and journalists present here in the room. Could you please stand up and state your name and media, and someone will bring you a microphone.
Do we have to speak in English or can it be in French? Yeah. About the minor thing that happened at the end, to what extent does it put into question the program of the new launch, the next launches of Ariane 6?
No, my colleagues will complement, but as we said, we have what we have achieved tonight with the launch success enables us to prepare the next missions, and starting with the second one. So we are perfectly on track now to make a second launch this year in 2024 for the French MOD and to make the next missions. So it has no consequence on the next launches.
So now we'll take one question. I guess Stefan Clark from Ars Technica, your question was answered, but please let us know if you want to further elaborate on it. We have a question from Thierry Dubois from Aviation Week. Was the first 3 separations around 1:05 a.m. successful? And then the second question is, the APU is a key element of the Vinci launcher and reignition in particular. If it worked correctly just once, should engineer go back to fine-tuning the APU? Josef Aschbacher?
Yeah. Just to answer the first part, but I think the second part was already replied to by Martin. Yes, so the stage is separated correctly, first stage from the second stage. This worked all nominally, exactly according to the time. And on the APU, it fired once correctly and exactly according to expectations. On the second try, this was exactly as Martin was just explaining. After a short while, it shut down, and therefore we had the situation was developing exactly along the nominal situation, nominal in the sense of what was programmed in order to continue the mission profile.
Now, a question from the room, please. Yes, Josh Brozana from Politico.
Thank you. 2 questions, if that's okay. First of all, to Joseph and to Philippe. You were both very outspoken before the launch about the decision by EUMETSAT to switch one of the flights to SpaceX instead. I wonder, after today's success, do you have anything to add to that? Would you maybe suggest a turnaround for the agency on that decision? And secondly, maybe for Martin, just on the maybe slightly distant topic of human spaceflight, what is the status of conversations? Are they at a very early stage about what could happen to convert Ariane 6 in the future to carry a human spaceflight mission? Thank you.
Yeah, on the MDG, or let's say not using Ariane 6 for the MDG S1 mission, I think this is really something for EUMETSAT to comment. It's not for me as ESA, or neither for CNES or anyone else. What we did express, and I think we can repeat what was said in the past, it was surprising that the decision was made before the launch has occurred today. But the decision itself, I would like to make it crystal clear, is a decision of EUMETSAT.
And maybe we can make just a comment, because we have spoken about the launch success, but the very first part of the mission, the first 18 minutes, were sufficient to make a mission such as EUMETSAT. It was an Ariane 5-like mission, so we can say very clearly tonight that what has been demonstrated during the first 18 minutes were strictly sufficient to to make a mission such as the one for EUMETSAT?
Well, as far as we stand by, well, I stand by what I said, which was, I think, pretty clear, talking about European autonomy and naivety and so on. So I stand by that, and I'm not sure it's the right time to discuss this right now.
There's a question from Leo and
I think there was another question, but I won't give an answer which is very interesting, which is how could we adapt Ariane 6 to human spaceflight? I mean, if there is a need, it's something which is possible. A significant part of the additional safety comes from the capsule, okay? But today we don't have a huge stream of work on this topic. But if there is a need, this is something that we would study very carefully and with a good appetite. And coming to Philippe Baptiste's comment, I mean, it's clear that when you see all the efforts which have been made by the member states to have autonomous access to space with Ariane 6, made by industry, which took its responsibility in all the difficulties, etc., to make this program where it is today, it would make sense that institutional payloads in Europe would be sent by a European launcher when they are available. And now Ariane 6 is available.
A question from Leo Enright from the Irish TV. How important was the TV payload provided by the Irish company Realtra? And specifically, did it play a role in analyzing the anomaly after the successful orbit insertion? Tony.
I'll talk a little bit about the payloads. There were 9 satellites on board, CubeSats, they were deployed after the second boost. So it was a full success for them. Now we had 2 re-entry capsules that were supposed to re-enter or supposed to be released when the upper stages were on the re-entry phase. This unfortunately did not happen because of this anomaly we had with the APU. So unfortunately they could not be released, and they will stay together with the upper stage so as not to create more debris.
We have a question from Peter B. Deseldin from Space Intelligence Report. We answered most of your question, Peter, but you have a follow-up one on that I will now say. Is it not the case that the APU anomaly will not permit a full ramp-up until the anomaly is fully understood?
You know, as it is a global practice, when you've got something that you don't understand, you have to understand it to see if it can have consequences, okay? But when we make a flight like the one we did today, what is important is to have clear objectives and to say, okay, if we have met this and this and this, we are where we should be in order to authorize the next launches, etc. And all that has been fulfilled. So it's true that in the next days and weeks, when we have all the data, we will analyze to understand better what happened. What is clear is that the APU, when we restart it in microgravity, it's very different from the start that we did before. And so we knew that the way it would behave would be different, okay? But a lot of missions do not need to be restarted in microgravity. This is a flexibility that we could use or not. And this is something that we will adapt the flight profile depending on what we find for this. But as Stefan said, for the missions we foresee, we believe that we have already, the largest part of the missions which are already demonstrated by this flight.
There's still many questions on how long the... I'm sorry,
and maybe just to be 100% clear, so we are prepared to make a second launch this year and 6 next year. And this is the objective, and what has been achieved tonight is allowing us to go full speed to this ramp-up, to be very clear.
And yet, there are many questions how long the analysis of the data will take.
I take it. Yes, you take it.
So we first need to retrieve all the data from the different stations, and then we will post-treat them. And so we should start in a few days the analysis. And normally we take between 1 to 2 weeks to do the analysis, the first analysis of the data we have from the launch. So in 1 to 2 weeks we should have much more information about what happened.
And basically, what we have here in the tech demo is the kind of information that we had previously when we were making combined tests. We had behaviors we needed to explain in combined tests in French Guiana or in Lampolshausen with the per stage, and each time we took time in order to better understand and build the reliability of the launcher before deciding to launch. So this is additional information. The team will work on it as we did previously during the development.
Let me add one comment here, which is really the way how we then communicate. We will be very transparent. We have been very transparent in the run-up to this point of the inaugural flight. We have created a task force about 2 years ago, and I think this mechanism of the task force has also been an element that contributed getting to this stage here, I would say, with in a very smooth way. And one of the policies that we introduced in the task force was that we do publish the result of our discussion or the progress of the mission after the meetings, and we have done so regularly after each meeting when we had major progress to report. So exactly like we did in the past, we will continue to do so. We will analyze the data, we will discuss them in the task force, we will publish the results so that everyone is well aware and well informed. And this is a very important issue for us all in the task force, that this transparency is given to you, that you perfectly know what happens and what issues are.
Thank you. Is there a question from the room, please? No. Let me check online. Okay, I have a question from Guillaume Langin from Ciel Espace. Let me just translate it. The last APU and Vinci reignition was meant to deorbit the second stage. Given it now orbits at 580 kilometers, which is a high altitude, for how long will the second stage, which weighs more than 2 tons, remain on orbit? And does that mean it will be uncontrolled when it re-enters towards Earth?
So I don't know how much time it takes. I'm sure that some experts know, but today I don't know. Karine, maybe you know? No, you don't know.
The microphone, no?
So I don't know. What is clear is that there are a lot of upper stage which are still orbiting and takes sometimes several years to go back, depending on the orbit they are. And so it's not a unique situation. But what is true is that we did not demonstrate today the deorbitation of Vinci. Okay, that's clear. But with a second boost of Vinci, we would have been able to deorbit it. And this is something which does not create more hazard than what happens with the vast majority of launchers. And the upper stage will, at one point of time, burn into the atmosphere.
We don't have additional questions in the chat unless one of you wants to further elaborate. In the room, last call. Yes, please. Can you stand up and state your name and media, please, and wait for the microphone?
Thank you. I have a question to Mr. Israel. You talk about a second launch at the end of the year. Could you precise the date? It will be in November, in December?
Let's elaborate a little bit on what is coming now in the Guyana Space Center. There is a Vega, which is coming. And this Vega will be after summer, it will be early September. It will be for Copernicus satellite. Then we will have the return to flight of Vega C, which is now under the control of another task force with Joseph Aschbacher, Tony and Giulio Renzo from Avio, so it should be end November. And it means that the second launch of Ariane 6 is now forecasted in December, after the return to flight of Legacy.
Thank you.
So 3 launches coming, so it's also the mark that we are back.
I have no more questions, so I guess this closes the press conference. We thank you all for your presence here. We thank you for the questions for those that were remotely located. And I think we all want now to celebrate, because again, it was a big, big success for Europe, and I think a round of applause. Thank you all.